Hello and welcome to The Average Critic, where today we are going to be talking about A Bug's Life, which in my opinion is Pixar's most underrated forgotten movie.
Really?
Really?
If you're new to the channel, why not subscribe, like this video, it really helps me out, and make sure you hit the notification button as I do weekly reviews of all the Pixar movies. So with that out of the way, let's talk about Pixar's most underrated movie, A Bug's Life. So A Bug's Life started production directly after the big debut that was Toy Story, and after Toy Story grossed over $350 million worldwide, everyone was kind of asking the same questions. Are there any plans to do a sequel? Now, as much as we did get a franchise of sequels several years later, they never planned on having any sequels at the time. Pixar have always said with its sequels that if they think the story and characters can go anywhere, then they do them, but they never make a film with a franchise in mind. You see, at the time that was the late 90s, franchises and sequels were hot in the market, with such sequels as Jurassic Park: The Lost World and Pierce Brosnan in his second outing as James Bond in Tomorrow Never Dies. Franchising and making direct sequels were a huge way to go back to the films with the characters they knew and love with a fresh new story. So when A Bug's Life came out in 1998, people were a little shocked to not see Buzz and Woody not making a comeback. A Bug's Life starts by introducing us to a colony full of ants who are gathering food to appease the gang of grasshoppers. We then get introduced to our main hero of our story, the inventive but bumbling Flick, voiced by none other than Dave Foley. Flick is obsessed with inventing devices to help out the colony, but never really hits home with his inventions, usually leading him to getting into trouble as other members of the colony just want him to stay in line and be like everybody else. First off, from a technical standpoint, A Bug's Life improves from Toy Story in every way. Lighting effects are cleaner, cinematically it's on a much grander scale than Toy Story, and some shots having as much as 800 fully edited individual ants. Right from the opening shot of the movie, we slowly pan from the sun to see the island as we slowly zoom in to see the ants plucking their grain. The fact that they hired someone to film with a tiny camera placed on a set of Lego wheels, giving the name Bug Cam, and it rolls through the grass to see it as an insect sees, really shows in these moments. You really feel the perspective viewpoint in this movie, and this allows you to care about the characters' motivations and problems even more because you feel like you're there with them in the environment. And when this is backed up by the incredible musical score, this heightens the experience so much. You can clearly see that this film is so much grander than Toy Story ever was. Everything feels bigger and more ambiguous, which is ironic considering the story is about insects. Just the score alone is all you need to see how much bigger this film is in scale. And of course, once again, Randy Newman soars with his music, creating classic style-based symphonies that sound like something written from the 18th century. They fit perfectly with the scenes for the movie. Seriously, if you're like me and you enjoy listening to film scores, give A Bug's Life a try, you will not be disappointed. One thing that Pixar has truly learned to master throughout its films is world building, and Bug's Life does not disappoint in any shape or form. To Flick going to the city and being in a dive bar and watching the circus bugs perform, the world feels so lived in. Why did this film not get like a million spin-offs? There are billions of insects in the world, and they all have a story that need telling. I'm waiting for this film to be in Kingdom Hearts. Seriously, come on Square Enix, get on it! But even small nuances make the world feel lived in. This film has so many good one-liners that add so many layers to the characters and the world behind it. To Mr. Sawyer recalling his vents of the twig of 93, to a slug asking for no salt in his food, to P.T. Flea having a freaking mustache. He has a mustache. They didn't even need to give him one, but they did, and it's awesome. These tiny moments are just perfect for me. They are scattered throughout the movie. Tiny little things like the grasshopper sound effects is like a motorcycle revving, as Hopper bluntly says, "Let's ride!" This film will go over kids' heads in so many ways. Tiny little moments like this that will get adults laughing, leaving the kid looking at their parents thinking, what's so funny? I mean, when you hire David Hyde Pierce to play a clown stick insect, you have definitely hit comedy gold. It would be like putting Dame Judi Dench in a raunchy comedy with Seth Rogen. Also, I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan, so when you have this in your movie, I'm easily satisfied. Speaking of the actors, this cast is vastly dissimilar to Toy Story and most animated movies by today's standards. Aside from a few, most of the cast weren't big Hollywood actors. Pixar Pixar chose to cast from the small screen from sitcoms, with Dave Foley coming from News Radio, Richard Kind from Spin City, and Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond. This really shows throughout the whole film. Whereas Toy Story mainly focused on Woody and Buzz, A Bug's Life has a large ensemble of a cast, and every one of them has a moment to shine. To Rosie the Spider talking about how she's a widow, to Francis wanting to be a butterfly, and Tuck and Roll, who are just simply funny in any scene they are in. I think Hopper said it's best when he said,
"Now that's funny."
Speaking of Hopper, in Toy Story, Sid is known as the antagonist of the film, but A Bug's Life delivers in such a different way. Hopper is just an awesome evil villain. He's smart, he's manipulative, and he even explains at the start how he thinks he's doing the right thing. What makes a great villain is the villain thinks he's the good guy, and Hopper does. He's like the Negan of the Pixar world. To him, the ants are a resource. He doesn't want to kill them all. Right, first,
we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
I know Hopper is voiced by Kevin Spacey, and there is a little controversy on that topic, but he delivers a stellar performance as Hopper. I mean, the guy is known for playing dark and serious characters, and here he is as a Pixar villain, and he's just perfect. You can tell he's enjoying every second of dialogue as this character, more than backing up my point of adults enjoying this movie far more than kids. He isn't a cartoonish mustache-twizzling criminal.
Yeah, this will surely affect my inheritance.
He's a character with his own motivations, and it's just plain scary sometimes. Seriously, if James Bond was an insect in A Bug's Life, he'd be toast next to Hopper. Seriously, when the grasshoppers come out and they're walking through that thick fog, it is terrifying. It's like something out of Silent Hill. Now, the thing is, I have quite a personal significance with this movie. The early part of my life, I was bullied a lot at school and spent a good part of my life as an outsider. I didn't have many friends, but always dreamt of doing great things with my life. So to see a character like Flick on screen who I can relate to is just sublime. A Bug's Life is a beautiful film about being different and wanting to make a difference in the world. It's about standing up to bullies like Hopper. It's a film for the underdogs of the world, a David and Goliath story. When the ants realise that they are stronger together, and the symbol of them locking arms to show strength is a message that still matters today. Stand up to your bully when you have your friends and your family by your side, and how being different is a good thing and you shouldn't follow the herd. Or in this case, a colony of ants. When Flick gets his applause at the end, he is so deserving of it. He doesn't smile and say thank you, he cries. And to me, that is awe-inspiring. This film truly is the underdog of the Pixar world, and not enough people are talking about it. You see, A Bug's Life wasn't the first Pixar film to have a predominantly black cast, it didn't make you cry within the first 10 minutes, and it didn't even spawn a franchise of not-so-good sequels. It will forever be known, or rather forgotten, as the film that just came after Toy Story. That and it sparked a feud between Pixar and DreamWorks on another film with similar properties. Get out of here, ants! We're not talking about you! But after this video, I beg you to watch it again and bask in one of my favourite films ever. So with that, I give it my professional review of 9 out of 10, but my personal review, 10 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your viewpoints on A Bug's Life in the comment section down below. And of course, tune in next week when I'm going to be talking about the first of many sequels, Toy Story 2. If you enjoyed this video, or if you're a fan of Pixar like I am, why not subscribe? I'm doing weekly videos, and as always, any feedback on my videos to help me produce better content, put it in the comment section below. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.